a place full of secrets, Topkapi Palace Harem Office. The harem department, which attracts attention as the secret-filled place of the Topkapi Palace Museum, which is visited with curiosity by local and foreign tourists visiting Istanbul, also operated as an educational institution. Historians have said that the harem was actually an educational institution, not a place of entertainment, contrary to popular belief. According to the information given by historians, harem, named with an Arabic word meaning untouchable, secrecy and privacy, was found not only in Islamic states and Ottomans, but also in Assyrian and Byzantine palaces. The Sultan's family, consisting of his mother, sisters and wives, lived in the harem, which was created as a requirement of the family life of the Sultan, which was carefully protected apart from the places related to the state administration. During the reign of Mehmet the Conqueror, when the Topkapi Palace was completed in 1478, a small harem called Harem-i Dudaran was created here. For a certain period of time, the sultans stayed with their families in the old palace in Bayezid, but they came to Topkapi Palace to discuss administrative matters. Although it is stated in some sources that Suleyman the Magnificent used this palace from time to time with his wives Gulfam Hatun and Hurrem Sultan, the actual harem settlement was during the reign of Murad III's mother, Nurbanu Hatun. After that, 14 Valide sultans lived in the Topkapi Palace harem for 234 years. Hundreds of maidservants of the Valide Sultan, each with different duties, also lived in the harem. The number of women living in the harem changed from time to time. During the reign of Selim II, the number of harem residents in the old palace and the number of people living in the harem would have reached up to 1,200. The harem, which includes about 400 large and small rooms, expanded with the addition of new sections from the hill where the palace was located, towards the Saraburna coast, from the 16th century to the end of the 19th century, according to the wishes of the Sultan and his mothers. For the harem, which is a top-secret place, historian Tursun Bey said, if the son were male, as it takes in Persian, even he would not be allowed to enter. Education from sewing to music. In the Ottoman period, women learned how to behave, especially in music, in the harem, which was the equivalent of the internal organization in the palace and the university-level high school Enderun here. The women, under the supervision of the chief steward, learned to sew and play Turkish musical instruments. In fact, Leyla Saz and Dilhayat Kalfa, two of the most important Turkish music composers, had left the harem. According to the information given by Semilai, the harem was an educational institution contrary to popular belief. Women living in the harem used to come here at very young ages. The girls who came here, especially in Crimea, Russia and Circassia, were educated in the palace, and after 9 years of service, they could leave the palace with the freedom documents called idikname and a beautiful dowry. Few of them were able to earn the title of wife of the Sultan. As a matter of fact, most of them could not see the Sultan due to their family life, and some of them were working in various services as servants. When they first came to the palace, they were given different names. They were taught the rules of living in the Islamic tradition, and they were given beautiful names such as Senaz, Gulnaz, Nazgul and Sminer according to their personality and grace. The name of Naksadil Sultan, which draws attention among them, means the ornament of hearts. Those who were not the Sultan's favorite, if they wanted to get married, were to be married to the appropriate people in the palace. They were given a salary of 9 to 30 aki every month. There are also mosques in the harem, which consists of spaces with different functions. Harem residents used to perform their prayers here. The large gardens in the harem attract attention. Some women were engaged in embroidery here. Among these was the tradition of drinking hookah coffee. During the reign of Selim III, women had a more comfortable life and were able to shop. For example, it is known that they were able to bring clothes from outside the palace for the Hidrolez Day, when white clothes were worn. citizens whispering on the walls. The girls in the harem were famous for their tight-spokenness and not revealing any information about life in the harem. However, some inscriptions on the walls of the harem draw attention as the contention in the harem and sometimes the desperation caused by being wronged into writing. The following statements stand out in two inscriptions on the wall of a room in the basement, below the mother's apartments in the harem. Two-penny mirror disappeared / the person sitting in it was hired by a thief, the people of this century, and born burned dilfrib ala garab aman aman. It is understood from the article that one of the concubines was accused of stealing something by the other harem residents, and the other was unfairly slandered. It is understood from these writings that the concubines could read and write. The secret doors of the harem. The biggest hall of the harem was the Sultan's sofa, where all the ceremonies such as feasts were held. In these ceremonies, the residents of the harem would come together. In the hall, the Sultan sat on one side and the Valide Sultan on the other, accepting the holiday greetings. The 5 doors of the hall were for different people to enter. One of the doors was reserved for the Sultan, one for the Valide Sultan, one for the favorite, and one for the Hasiki, who gave the first son to the Sultan, and the other belonged to the residents of the palace. Women used to perform music on the balcony located just above the hall. The stairs to this balcony are located behind a mirror in the main hall. The mirror opens like a door to the stairs. The reason for the use of the hidden door is that the architectural aesthetics of the hall are not spoiled. In addition, the baths of the harem give information about the water and sewage drainage system of the Ottoman Empire in the 16th century. While there was not even a sewer system in the palaces built by Western civilizations in the following centuries, the hot water passing through the walls in these baths was built to provide both heating and evacuation of the water. Selim's Mesk room was viewed for the first time. The musician and poet Sultan Selim III, known for his reforms, had a special room built in the harem for his mother Marisa Sultan. Decorated by foreign artists in the style of Turkish Rococo, this room and composer Sultan Selim III's Mesk room were displayed for the first time. In Marisa Sultan's room, which has very thin and curved walls and wooden joinery, the wall paintings made by Western painters also reflect the views from the Bosphorus of the period. Just a few steps up from this room, there is the Mesk room where the oud and ney master composer Sultan Selim III performed his musical studies. In this hall, architectural embroidery in the magnificent Turkish Rococo style stands out.
Topkapi Palace. Following the conquest of Istanbul in 1453, the construction of the Topkapi Palace was started in 1460 at the request of Fatih Sultan Mehmet and was completed in 1478. Topkapi Palace, which was not built simultaneously with all the additional buildings, such as the case is with Dolmabahce Palace, was enlarged with the supplementary buildings added until the 19th century. Topkapi Palace is located in one of the oldest historical regions of Istanbul. Located on the historical Istanbul Peninsula between the Marmara Sea, the Bosphorus, and the Golden Horn, the palace is one of the iconic structures of Istanbul. Topkapi Palace, established on an area of 700,000 square meters on the eastern Roman Acropolis in Saraburnu, was the administrative, educational and artistic center of the empire for approximately 400 years from Fatih Sultan Mehmet to the 31st Sultan Abdülmecid, as well as housing the dynasty. Although Topkapi Palace was gradually abandoned by the mid-19th century when the dynasty slowly moved to Dolmabahce Palace, it preserved its historical importance and value. After the founding of the Republic of Turkey, Topkapi Palace was converted into a museum on April 3, 1924, having the distinction of being the first museum of the Republic. Today, Topkapi Palace is one of the largest palace museums in the world with its buildings, architecture, collections and approximately 300,000 archive documents. Upon entering the Sultanate Gate, The palace structures consist of 4 transitional courtyards and the surrounding architectural structures. Among the palace structures surrounded by gardens and squares are the first courtyard known as Alay Square, Hagia Irene Church, Royal Mint, Bakery, Hospital, Wood Warehouse, and Wickermaker's House. The second courtyard of the palace is Divan Square, notable for being where the state administration takes place, also called Justice Square. Divan-i Humayun, Kabulti, the scene of many ceremonies throughout history, was the official meeting place of the Divan Council, and the treasury is located right next to it. The Justice Tower is located behind the Divan structure, the entrance to the harem next to Kabulti, with the courtyard also housing the ward of the Zuliyaflu Guards, the Trest Halberdiers, and the royal stables. The third courtyard of the palace is also called Enderun Courtyard. In this section houses the Sultan's audience hall, Enderun Treasure, the privy room, as well as structures such as the palace school established during the reign of Sultan Murat III. In the fourth courtyard, which is the last courtyard, there are pavilions and hanging gardens of the Sultan. In this section, there are the Baghdad and Revan pavilions and the Iftari gazebo, which are the most distinguished and aesthetically advanced examples of Ottoman classical mansion architecture. In the lower part of the fourth courtyard, Mesadai Pavilion and the Wardrobe Chamber are the last buildings of